Hi, everybody. Welcome to Vlog Zero. For those of you who don't know what this is, at the end of every single session, if the players are interested, we do a vlog where we talk out of character about what happened in the session, musings, thoughts, predictions, theories. And they also have a chance to ask me questions or ask each other questions, behind the scenes questions, like what would have happened if we did this, or what was the meaning behind that. And obviously I won't spoil anything or give away too much, but I might give you some things that are going on, like I said, behind the curtain that might be interesting for some of you. So totally optional, but we thought that this would be really interesting. So guys, what do you think of your session zero role playing? The warm up role
The
playing. Like I
warm-up
said.
The
role-playing
warm up.
left me more tired than I thought.
I can't wait for the real game.
Yeah, I
The
can't
real
wait for
game.
to start doing the real shit.
I like how we started an hour late because we're like, oh, it'll be quick. It's session zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably should have started at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Sorry, Jordan.
No, I'm like, here's the thing, it's funny because I reckon like right after I get off this vlog, I'm gonna be like, I'm still awake, and then I like my while I was on mute while we were finishing up Albion's last scene, my mum popped her head in and she's like, are you alright? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, because she must have heard me laughing and thought I was crying or something. So my mum popped her head in and she's like, are you alright? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, have you been up all night? And I'm like, yeah. I have been.
Yeah, as I told the players, this is my chance to cheat a little bit because I only originally tried to limit myself to having 10 sessions for Act 1. But I'm like, there's so much stuff I want to tell, and I didn't want to like glaze over how you guys got into your houses, and I don't want to glaze over how you guys got into your schools, because I could have easily started session 1 with you guys like when you're 16, 17 years old and not really explored too much of what was like when you were first experiencing the first day at school. And I thought that was really important. So that's pretty much what I did with session 0. It's more of the setup. None of the major plot stuff is really happening, but it at least gives you guys an opportunity to really experience what your first day at school, first few days of school were like. It helps to introduce some of the NPC characters because there's a huge cast. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be the
cast.
largest
Yeah.
cast of characters of any campaign.
I mean,
And I want to try to give as many NPC justice. And so I need to give them more screen time so you can actually like get attached to these characters and know what they're like, and because there's a lot of them, and I haven't even shown you. I probably have gotten through half of them by this point, half of the NPCs right now, maybe. So
So there's like one thing I do want to quickly get out of the way. So like before I go into detail, like I'm really particular with how I RP. I like if I don't do it exactly how I expected it to go, I kind of have doubts and second guess myself a lot. And I was a bit underwhelmed with how I played Roxana, and I'm just like wondering, how did you guys enjoy it, and do you think it was good? Like, be honest.
Roxana was great. I really did like
Roxana
her. I
was-
like the fact,
Okay, cool.
yeah, like no, I like that she wasn't so, because like we've said before, we've kind of done some of the RP chat stuff, so we kind of know a little bit of her personality. But I like seeing the younger version of her before like tragedy strikes, because then now when something bad happens and her personality is different, like you'll see that jump, you'll see that leap between characters.
Because
Yeah.
one thing I noticed, like while I was playing her, because this has never happened with any character before, but with Roxana, I just kind of let the situation dictate how I act, and she even surprises me sometimes, as silly as that sounds. So like I was sort of surprised myself with how mature she acted, which makes me think like Roxana is actually a lot smarter than probably she gives herself credit for. And in reality, she does like have common sense and actually has really strong morals. Like, and is giving people advice. Like, I really enjoyed the conversation with Tobias in the carriage where I was like, oh well, the houses don't make people; they help you, but like, it doesn't matter where you end up. Really, it's like it just matters what's inside. you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
have
really
to-
like Roxana.
Hell yeah.
What were we gonna say, AJ?
I just had a question for Jordan about Roxy. I was surprised that she kind of emerged as the popular one. I don't know if you anticipated that or if just because of the roles she ended up being popular, but it's almost like she's kind of the champion for like the underdogs. Like, because I
Yeah.
see what's her friend's name again, Toby. I see him as kind of an underdog, but she's like, no, I got your back, and like other people are starting to respect her because she's like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I kind of left it. Originally, I was going to be like, Roxana's pretty despised because of her role as a prankster. That was like my original plan for her, but I kind of thought about it more and I was like, well, you know, who were the at school, realistically, who are the more popular ones? And those are the class clowns.
Mm-hmm.
The class clown Levi types. So like,
Well,
I just got out of saying Levy and then I just did it again.
Just
I
started
mean,
all
Levi
over.
has Chance, so who else does he need?
Yeah, I love Chad so far. We need to see where
Oh
that
my god,
goes.
he
Chance
rocketed
is
to my favorite. I love him so
incredible.
much.
Do you like Chance? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if I prefer Chance or Rodney.
Rodney. Oh, Rodney.
Who is the
Rodney.
better bro?
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask. I was gonna ask. Like over this year, would me and Rodney have talked and everything? Like we're still
Yeah.
cool, right? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I think that you and Rodney still will still talk. The unfortunate thing is you can't really talk in school.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
when you're not there, yeah, when you have your phone again, you totally will like be able to catch up a little bit, and maybe
Cool.
you might have visited him at some point. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
We'll figure that out.
When you get your phone, you're gonna have like 30 missed calls and voice messages from him. Just, dude, where are you at, dude?
Levi, dude, I need you, man. Where are you? Call me.
One
It's
thing
gonna be like
that's-
that scene in Cable Guy. He's like, "Oh, sorry, thought you called me. I heard my phone ring. Give you a call back."
So
They
one thing that
confiscated my phone for like the whole day.
Yeah.
it was
the whole
it was a
year.
terror. One thing that really stood out to me for Levi was something you said, and I was kind of like, "Ooh, that's interesting." Was when Rodney offered him the joint, and you said at this stage Levi would not accept it. So I'm wondering, him being away from his friend, does that make him more reckless? Would you say?
No. Well, I guess we'll find out. That's something we'll have to find out later.
Then
that
what's
might not
the
be
point of a
something-
one?
No, because it's a little bit of not super spoilery, but it's a little bit to do with him getting older. So
Did you
Yeah.
know you were not gonna get a stone that transferred into another stone? Like, was that something you planned, or was that a surprise to you?
no, no, Hark hit me with that, and I was like, "What? What?" I was like, "Why did I get a house?" But it fits so perfect, and I love that he did that. But yeah, totally. I thought that he was gonna be like, "Oh, and it's this one." It's like cool.
I expected. Well, here's the thing. I expected going into this session. I expected Levi to be a cool kid. I expected everyone would like just love. And I'm not saying people did not end up liking Levi like
Levi
in
is
the end because it's
amazing.
been a few years. But like I thought it was really interesting when he was trying so hard to like make friends with people and it just wasn't working.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Levi was trying really hard to make friends. Rox was just
Yeah.
being her. And
Rox
everybody's
was
like, "Oh, dude, she's awesome."
Yeah.
But Levi's like trying to be friends.
Just
Right.
like
I
our
think he
real
was-
life personas.
Yeah, he was trying really, really hard, and it just seemed really fitting that
Yes.
you know he's like, yeah, what house do I have? Got it. Like this, I'm gonna have the best house. And it just seemed so. He was setting himself up for that. I felt. I was like, oh man, like
It
you
was
really,
so good.
you really are setting opening the door to that. So I was like, yeah, it didn't change, and it still hasn't changed. It's still
Yeah, that's
clear.
great. I love that because he's like, I love because like I don't. You obviously were listening. I'm like, oh, I'm going to that one. Oh no, wait, that one. That one's way cooler. Oh no, that's me. I'm like the smartest. And then it's like, you're none of them. You're just not any of them.
They were just like
It was-
little. There were little things that each of them did that was kind of like just piqued my interest, and I wrote it all. I've got like a few little notes here about interesting things that I found. Like for example, I noticed that Juan, and this like absolutely broke my heart, but when he was just talking to his stepdad, he would kind of stick up for his siblings, but as soon as his mother walked in the room, his whole demeanor changed, and I was like, oh, sweetheart. Like,
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Oh,
yeah, it made me sad. So I do not like Yvonne now. Roxy's
I
gonna
don't like
sort him out.
Yeah, we haven't seen the last of the family dynamics in Juan's, so don't. As I told people, this is the fluff role playing right now.
Yeah.
Where things are gonna get real.
That makes me super nervous because I'm the only one that didn't see any of their family. So I'm really nervous about session 1.
Yeah.
This is going to be bad.
I'm really looking forward to role playing a very particular scene with his dad.
Oh, yeah.
No,
This
this is already scaring me.
all of us
It's
have
pretty
daddy
good.
issues except for Levi.
Levi has the mommy issues though.
Yeah, but I mean, a little
They-
different. with that.
They tell Levi they're giving him up for adoption. That's the twist. But yeah, no, we didn't see Roxy's dad at all, which makes me nervous.
We'll wait a bit.
yeah.
I was hoping to
Twist
see
the
Al's dad.
mustache, keep twisting.
Yeah, I wanted to see Al's dad. We'll
I
have
wanted to
wait
see
for
Al's
that.
dad. I wanted them to interact, but I'm sure that's like a session 1 thing. But I was like waiting for Al's dad to like appear, and then Al be like, "Oh man," I was waiting for that moment.
At the age of 7, I don't think his like feelings toward his dad are that bad yet.
Okay.
Which brings
But I
me
did-
to like. Oh, sorry,
I threw the little like thing at the end there, like, well, my mom's in the ministry too, just to show that he still is more close. He's closer to his mom than his dad, but that's just by when he loses her. So
yeah, I was gonna bring that up because like I thought that was really interesting that like his response was to deflect talking about his dad, which makes me think like he's at the stage like he's just his dad makes him uncomfortable.
yeah,
As it is right now, he doesn't hate his dad or not like to be around him just yet. It's starting to develop.
it's like an indifference. I feel like he probably doesn't see him often. Like he's very absent right now. So it's an indifference more so than a contempt.
I wonder if he feels like, and you can probably answer this, if he feels like his mother is a bit undervalued because of the fact that he brought up, well, she's in the ministry too. Like, does he feel like she kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit because his dad's such a big deal politically?
I don't know if at 7 that he understands that, but I think that he values his mother much more as a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And it was hard playing as a 7-year-old. There was a few things I even said that, like, after I said them, I was like, that's not something a 7-year-old would say.
Yeah.
But it's really tough to put yourself, like, at that young of a mentality and still develop your character.
There are a few things like Roxy did that I thought was a bit, like, where the way she spoke was a bit adult for someone of her age.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose except for, obviously, the pranks were quite over the top, which I don't think she would spit on her servants nowadays.
I thought Rox was going to set her sister up and be like, okay, now you go put the slugs in the pillowcase and be like, Mom, blah, blah, blah.
I
thought that's
totally,
what
if
she
the
was
scene had continued and she came in the room and said, what did you do this time? She absolutely would have blamed it on Natasha.
I thought she was trying to set her up from the beginning. I thought the second she like put a slug in the thing, she was going to be like, Natasha's putting slugs in your pillows. I was like, oh.
No, she's not that much of a snitch, but she does keep a notch on her belt, right? Waiting.
Yeah. So,
Waiting
Hark,
to-
are we allowed to ask you like what, like you said, what would have happened? Because I'm really curious what would have happened if Juan would have like critically failed his role. Does he fall to his death or?
Does he fail his
Yeah.
test?
So that's a very good question. Yes, you can ask me anything you want, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. So if Juan had like critically failed, then he would have fallen, but there would have been, it's a controlled environment. So none of your lives were actually in danger. So you would have probably still hit the water, and you probably would have felt, like you were drowning if you couldn't swim, but eventually would have been saved by one of the houses, and that would affect his score in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he would have
So-
died of embarrassment. Got it.
Right. The entire school was watching. So
Yeah, so that would have been very bad. It would be
Right,
for
so-
yay, woohoo, to haha.
That
Right.
makes me wonder, could Huan have totally missed out on his house if he did what, like, a certain way?
Yeah. So I think what's interesting is they always try to have at least one person vouch for somebody, so somebody's house. I think there's very rare occasions when nobody wants a student. So what might
poor
actually
kid.
happen is they might, if nobody is like really championing a particular student, they'll have a discussion and be like, all right, well, one of us has to offer a house, so let's talk about that. So I don't think anything that Juan tried to do would have caused him to not be chosen by someone.
Okay.
What would have happened if the big kid would have went first? Would the bridge just collapse instantly?
I
Like,
thought
was
that
there really strategy to that, or like,
Yeah.
okay,
I think you could either see it as let the lighter people go first and
or
just,
let the heavier people go first.
or
I
let the
also
heavier
thought-
people go first.
I
Yeah.
also thought about that maybe we can make the heavy go first, and then
The
the light
tank.
one go, and if it started falling, if they run, the shake is less and it's less probable, that they can run faster and make it.
I was specifically looking at Juan's behavior with that. So, does Juan immediately take charge? Does he try to have come up with a strategy? How successfully is he at persuading people to his ideas? Does he put himself first in danger before everybody else? Does he not let everybody go before him? Things like that. If things go wrong, what happens when something goes wrong? How quick-witted is he? How flexible is he? And those are the kind of things that we're looking for. Did he start asking? Also, a lot of it was whether or not Clef was asking me specific questions.
Yeah.
Like what are the relative weights of the people? Could I try to balance it out? So put the heaviest one with the lightest one. If there were questions that he asked me, then I'm like, okay, Juan is being analytical. So those are all things that I was taking into consideration at the end when I was trying to figure out which house would select him.
nice. Did Al know that he was going to see his grandmother?
No.
No, that was kind of cool because
I
I thought that was like one of the best scenes, and it started the whole thing. So.
Yeah.
whenever I asked, will Grandma and Grandpa be here? In the current story, they have passed, but I never said when they passed. So it could have been like, while he was in school, but clearly it's prior to him going to school, which I didn't know. So I thought maybe like the actual Grandma and Grandpa people would come and they would pay respect to like great grandparents. But then, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to have some sort of ancestral scene because it's very it's a huge part of Japanese lore, folklore,
Yeah.
and I thought that would be an appropriate time for that to happen. So that's why your grandparents ended up passing away. You probably got really close to them up until that point. So
I did want to say though, Hark, I thought the way you painted the Japanese culture was just like very beautiful. Like I could just like see it, and I loved that scene. I think it was my favorite of the three just because of how much imagery you gave us.
And like
No,
that
definitely.
imagery is so important, I reckon. It's gonna be
Yeah.
very important, I think, to Albion as a character because so I was actually, while everyone's scenes were playing out, I was Googling some things. So I didn't Google the dragonflies, but I did Google the color green. And in Buddhism, the color green is a symbol of balance. And I remember there was a big thing about his grandmother telling him, the Muggles don't look after the plants. So it's left to us to look after the plants. They're useful. So, I don't know. It seems to be like there's sort of a theme going on with everyone. And with Albion, it's balance, which makes me think okay, is there a thing going on with everyone? So I haven't really thought more on that, but it seems like that was really important, and it's going to come into play later.
Yes, there is a theme.
Yes.
And yes, I'm started dropping hints of what the theme is, but I'm not going to specify what the theme is because I want to see if you guys will figure it out.
Is Levi's luck?
Well, it's funny you say that, but
Oh.
because like the thing with Levi, and I just felt like this was important to jot down as well, when the teacher was like, what does the last name Lionheart mean to you? And Levi noted qualities that are common for Gryffindor, which like is pretty expected knowing his backstory. But then he ended up being in the house that had rose quartz, which is its thing, and rose quartz in New Age, like, and witchcraft and all that, is a symbol for love. So it's like, okay, maybe that's Levi's deal.
Why do you
think that
think he
you
keeps
get a little
flirting?
too deep into
I am
it.
like, I have notes here where I'm psychoanalyzing every little thing Hawk is doing.
It's like that board with all the strings. She's
That's
gonna
what's
figure
happening
out
on my
like
computer
all our
right now.
stuff before we play.
Prove me wrong.
What I'm just curious because what were some of the NPCs that really resonated with you and maybe you wanted to know more about? Because I think a lot of you were talking about Chance.
Chance for sure.
Chance was one of the last people. Actually, the two characters that I ended up coming up with last were Chance and Rodney. They
Nice.
like threw in. I wasn't really sure how they would be received. I was like, I think it might be interesting to tack these characters on, and I actually didn't intend on introducing Chance until session 1, but I thought it'd be interesting for Levi to have met Chance, given that he kind of was a little bit outcasty because of what happened with his stone. And Chance, you'll probably have a chance to know. You'll have a chance to learn maybe more of Chance's backstory, because he is kind of outcast himself, not just because he's a leprechaun, but we'll get into that more. So
I was just gonna say, we haven't seen how the skulls handle non-human students, so I think it's neat to see that at least we know Castle Ruscio does accept non-human students.
I'm glad you noticed that, because if you notice, their head mistress is a centaur.
Yeah.
Centaur. Yeah, so they're pretty open to beasts.
There is something to that. So hopefully that's something we will explore more in session 1. There is definitely something to that, and that might be a theme of some sort going on there too.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I had
The NPCs I think I fell for were definitely Tobias. Is one of my favorite.
Tobias.
Both my NPCs, but that could just be biased because I love Rodney and I love Chance. So
yeah, Chance is great.
Yeah, and then if not Tobias, I really I don't like, but the NPC that probably caught my attention the most is Juan's stepdad, because of how much I don't like him. And like how much I
really
want to see that develop a little more. So like that got my attention more than the other NPCs, just because of how much I dislike him already.
And like, yeah, Al's mom also was like,
like
the way she came across, she's bae. She really came across as like someone that was really calm and serene, and which like opposed to like what I know about Albion's dad, that's quite a contrast, which like makes me think like for him being like the way Al being the way he is, having like being a bit more, not too much, but being a bit more intellectual with the herbology, like I can definitely see where he probably gets that from, because his mum seems to be like a thinker and quite academic, so like I can see like where he'd probably get that. And he also seems to be pretty level-headed for the most part, from like what I could remember from his interview and seeing you play just now. You're pretty chill for the most part. So it's like, okay, I can see where you get that from.
But I loved how the twins interacted, and yeah, I mean the comedic characters were great. Like as soon as Chance popped up on the screen, I was like, wait, why does he have green skin? And then I was like, oh my goodness, he's electric.
Yeah.
It is. I looked up the lore in Harry Potter. In Harry Potter, they do have green skin. And you said something. What did you say before? There was something you said before. Oh, your mom.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I like to do with the first few scenes in a campaign is characters that I know we're not going to see much of later. I want to bring them up now because I need to give you a chance to figure out what your mom was like and what your relationship was with your mom was like, so that when you actually talk about her in present time, you know you have that knowledge instead of just making it up on the fly, because it's so much harder to make that up just randomly unless you actually role play through it. So that's why I needed to put this in session 0, so that you've figured out what the deal is with Albion and his relationship with his mom.
Yeah, no, I appreciated it. I felt like those scenes really like solidified his innocence, which I'm sure he will lose pretty soon.
I did how did you I'm sorry if this like was trying to steer the direction of the scene in one way, but I kind of really enjoyed the conversation between Alec and Roxana as well. I had fun there because I think like that was an opportunity for me to like sow the seeds of doubt, and like I hope everyone enjoyed that as well. But
That was good.
yeah, where it's like, you know, something doesn't seem right to me. Like I feel like something's coming. You know?
Yeah, I'm really I really enjoy the relationship between Alexander and Roxana, as was the one I was most curious about, because that had the biggest question mark. I wasn't really sure. I knew that you and him are supposed to be close, at least before.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad I had a chance to explore that a little bit. We'll look at to that more in the future.
If you like
So
notice the way she deals with people very differently. Like with Rox, when it comes to like Natasha, her instinct is to just pick and pick and pick and pick until she blows up. With Tobias, it's all like trying to bury his doubts underneath all the jokes, and she tries to keep jokes to keep his like spirits up. And then with Alex, she's blunt. She's very straight to the point.
I like that.
Very honest with him. So
I like that.
Like, yeah, she's very much a performer, and she tailors herself around the people she's talking to, which is something like I haven't really been able to experiment a lot with Roxana. I guess a little bit with like Levi in the RP chat, like she's really honest with him, but I don't know how that's going to turn out this time around. We might not even be friends this time around. I might hate you.
I don't think I'm going to like you very much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like you either. This time around, it's probably going to be different.
Yeah. So I think I have a little bit of a personal question to you, Hark. Does this Levi make it into the campaign without votes, or?
Yes. Yes, this Levi definitely. I'm so happy. There definitely is a change of character. I love it. I love his accent. I love his accent, and he just plays off of. He played off of when we had the Rodney scene. I was like, oh yes, this is exactly what I needed from Brandon. So thank you, Brandon.
Yes, no problem. I was hoping you'd like it. I've been tweaking it a bit since
I like
March.
it.
As soon as
one of my notes just said Brandon redemption. Like I feel like you got your redemption.
Thank you.
You got your groove back.
It's funny because like I know like Levi, and one thing you were talking about doing for Levi was him making nicknames for people, or like shortening people's names to make it easier. And I like half expected him to call Chance Lucky.
I call him Little Man.
Little
Man.
Yeah, because it was tough because like it's like when I speak to students, like when I'm speaking to the teachers, I don't want to call them out their name, so it was kind of except for my headmaster apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
But but
Yes,
like
horse lady.
horse lady. But like with the teachers, I was trying to get their names right, and then like try to shorten the students' names and stuff like that. And I called Rodney Rods, so I did
Yeah,
shorten
yeah,
that one.
rods. I remember that.
Yeah, so that's just it makes it easier for me, the player, to remember names too. I'm terrible with names, so
Yeah.
uh, but yeah. So I'll be doing that a little more in the future.
Yeah. I'm just like keen for them all to meet up because like especially now more than ever, I'm so like unsure of where everyone's relationship is gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've all talked about like who we think would end up being friends and all that, but now I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen now because it just did not go the way I expected it to.
Which character NPC are you most interested in seeing your PC interact with that wasn't in your like school? I guess is what I'm saying. So I know that Jordan said that you really want to see Roxanne interact with Chance,
Yeah.
which I think is
She will love
definitely
him.
cool to
I
talk
think that'd be
to
cool.
interact with Chance. What were some of yours if you were to interact with another NPC that was not your own NPC? I guess is the best way to put it.
If I could say it again, I think Levi and Tobias will really get along because,
Mm.
like, even though their personalities are so different, I feel like they kind of have the same out. Like, Levi wants to be popular, but he's not. Whereas Tobias doesn't really try too hard, and so he's
No.
not super popular either. And it's like I feel like they're kind of in the same path, even though Levi tries. I like in my head, I picture a scene already where it's like Levi sticks up for him, like, hey, don't make fun of his stuttering or something, and it's like
So
I could see that.
would that be Lovi? Would that be Lovi as the ship name?
Yeah, Lovi.
Lovi. Okay.
It broke my heart when like he sat down. He was like, "I guess I'm not in the cool house,"
Oh,
Yes.
that was the
and I was
line
like,
of the
"Oh
night.
no!"
Yeah.
That was like the point
Right.
where I'm like, Jordan, the little telltale icon came up. Your decisions matter. Your decisions
Yeah.
matter. But
Right.
you weren't paying
Because
attention. You have to be
just said, yeah, I love that as a GM because Roxanne immediately was like, oh, that's not the cool house, and then she started like, doing the
Making fun of it,
raspberry,
yeah.
and was like, oh, Roxy, oh,
She
you might
puts her
regret that a little bit.
she puts her foot in it. She really does sometimes. Like
It was beautiful. I'm sorry, it was beautiful when that
That
happened.
was a great line of the night.
the thing is, I was doing it though, knowing full well, like, because I wrote Tobias. I spoke Hark finalized him and brought him to life, but like I came up with that original concept, and I knew as soon as I came up with it, he's not going to be in the same court as Roxana. I knew that from the beginning, and I still like made her keep going.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. Yes,
Her and
perfect.
Levi just do not know when to stop. They just
They don't-
keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wanted when I create the NPCs, I purposely tried not to put them in the same houses because I want to be able to explore the other houses through them, with some very small exceptions. But for the most part, even your close friends are not in the same house as you, and that's okay. You still will see them. You'll still interact with them.
I'm
So
glad.
the like super important question right now: who are we shipping with who
Here's
so
the
far?
thing. Here's the thing. Okay, I genuinely don't know. There was a moment there when like Alec was like insinuating something. I don't know if it was just me overthinking things, but I thought he was insinuating something, and I was like,
With Roxanne and Toby.
yeah.
Then?
And I was because he was like, yeah, you guys are really close.
That's when I was. I think they need to ship.
So I was like,
I think Toby's adorable.
He's my
but
boy.
that's me. He's adorable.
I'm so glad like for the origin stories because now it's like, and Roxana as well is like, if anyone does anything to him, there is hell to pay. Like he is, I will protect his smile
Aw.
with every core of my being. I love him so much.
when he opens up his rune club, you're gonna be like, everybody, you better sign up. Sign up to his rune club.
He's gonna have a line out the door.
I get like,
Yes, Roxana, yes, and people will listen to you.
Yeah.
Yes, Roxy, sure, whatever you say.
He's like, come on, can you use your pull? And she's like, oh, fine. And she like, everyone, the Rune Club is cool. Let's all join us. And then they get like 1 million members.
Yes.
People
They'll
get
become the-
t-shirts.
He'll become the second most popular kid in school just by being friends with Roxana.
Yeah,
That's true.
I
He's like
Go ahead.
he's like the Ron stoppable to your Kim possible. Because Kim is like super like awesome, and then there's Ron, who's like just by awesome by association, I guess.
In his bio, I literally put he is like the yin to my yang, to Roxana's yang. Like they're just always together, and they're polar opposites, but they just, you know.
Yeah.
do
But
thick and
I
thin.
also ship Juan and I forget the girl's name, but the one that
Nalia.
helped him in the bridge.
Layla.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
them two. Them two.
I ship
was
it so
shipping
hard.
them.
I like those two. Naila is such a. I'm excited to explore Naila more. She's got a very cool story too. So.
Kind of shipping
Yeah.
Al with the male twin.
Oh, Nico with Nico, eh? No? Even at
No.
7 years old, even with them at 7.
No, like older. I can see it.
Older,
This-
okay.
Not
I
yet.
ship Al and his teacher.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even at 7 years
Okay.
old, I don't care. I ship them too.
I do
I-
not endorse this idea and the product.
I want to see Asa kind of boss Levi around because he's the type that would probably just go with whatever she says because she has that she almost has that bossy Hermione attitude in my opinion, and I think Levi would just be like, yeah, whatever. Like,
Yeah. I was just about to put that in the chat whenever he was like, "Oh, she could join all 3 houses." I was like, "That's the real Hermione of the
That's
group right
Hermione.
there."
Like she's fiercely smart.
Yes, and
I suppose
she's definitely Hermione.
is there an NPC we think will get along with the least, or play a character like
Hmm.
at this stage?
I mean,
Characters
if we
are-
can't say Juan's
Ivan?
stepdad,
Yeah.
I suppose.
I would probably say, if I'm being honest, probably Alec. I feel like he's he's definitely too uptight for Levi. Like anything Levi says will get on his nerves, and it'll always cause trouble between us two. I already know it.
I was really happy with how Hawk played him because he was like stone serious. He's quite scary actually. Like, so
Yeah.
I could totally see why he'd say that. I think for me, Roxana would clash with like Asa or not Nalia. I could see her clashing with the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they're very like academic, and she's like words, what? So I could.
How about you, AJ? Like, which NPC are you looking forward to for Albion to interact outside of your own, and which one do you think you would clash with? Al would clash with.
the one, and maybe this is more of as a PC player, like the one I think would be interesting is to see how he interacts with I guess it's Boris now, Boris Hooch.
Boris Hooch. Okay.
I don't know. That's the one that was. I think that there's a lot of mystery there, and like we haven't seen it was just over the course of the year, it just comes back, and all of a sudden Ivana is Boris. So I'd like to see like what the history is there, and being you said cousin of Madame Hooch.
Madam Hooch. Mm-hmm.
So I assume their family is a little well known. So I think Albion maybe might have a little bit of connection there, like with what he's kind of going through as well. So.
Just like Madam Hooch, Boris is also the main referee of the Quidditch team on Koldovstorets too. So
It like oh, I just lost my train of thought. I think it's
What character would you like the least, AJ? Or which NPC would you think you'd like the least?
or would clash with.
Yes, clash with. Clash with.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any yet that I feel like that Albion really wouldn't get along with.
Do you think you would clash at all with Rodney at all?
I can see him clashing with the
I
blue
think I
brain
think
characters in
Rodney would
general.
appreciate certain plants from you,
Right.
certain herbs from you.
That might be the only extent of their like what they have in common. I don't think I'd clash with him. I think Albin would just be more like, I don't know, unsure of how to handle him.
Mm.
So I had a
Give him some
question.
Doritos. We're all good.
What was your
Whenever-
question, AJ?
When you put up the one professor from Wagadu, it kind of caught me off guard, and I think it was just purely coincidence. But whenever I had written Albion, if he was going to be in Wagadu, his male best friend was going to be Chukwuemeka, and then I saw that name pop up for one of the professors, and I like had a moment where I was like, "Wait a minute, is this tied to Albion?" And then I realized that was just a name I had picked had I went to Wagadu.
That's like
Oh,
Tobias was like a character I had thought up of as soon as I auditioned. As like thought Roxana would have like a sort of an Eddie from It type best friend who's like kind of a nice guy. He's a bit paranoid,
Yeah.
that sort of character. And it was funny because the original name I sort of like immediately I was like Joseph. And then I did my interview and Mikhail called the best friend character Joseph. It was like a crazy coincidence. And I was like, this is really freaky.
Yeah, the Chukwuemeka name I just got off of a list of African names.
We probably were on the same list, but it caught me at first. I was
Probably.
like, wait, is this tied to Albion? And then I was like, no, that's not even his friend anymore.
Who's got the coolest headmaster?
Who's got the coolest headmaster? Yeah.
The
Levi.
one with the horse lady.
The
Definitely.
horse lady.
I cannot believe he did that. I cannot believe he said that. And
I
corrected
couldn't
with
either. Then I had to double down with Pony Lady. I don't know why I did that.
he's just like unbelievable. Like if when you look back through the footage, Hark, like you'll see me 90% whenever Levi is talking, my jaw is constantly on the floor. Like me just going, "What are you doing, mate?" Like
yeah, his mouth is gonna get him in a lot of trouble. So we'll see. That'll be
Levi
fun
is
to play.
mad.
Chukua, to give a little bit more backstory, Professor Chukwuemeka Zuberi was originally supposed to be the headmaster of Wagadu, but I missed a detail in the lore that Clef wrote, which said that part of the lore behind Wagadu is that the founding witch of the school somehow continues to live on through the years, which is why traditionally every single head mistress of that school is a woman. So I decided to swap, and instead of having Mwamba be Zuberi's position, I swapped the two of them. So now Zuberi is the head of Juan's house, and Mwamba is the headmistress. So that was a recent change.
I'm wondering why Mwamba chose to take that form when contacting Juan. If that's significant, or if it's like
Hark.
I love Huck's responses. He's always like, "Ooh, I don't know. It could be. What is it?" I'm sitting there going,
Yeah, there's so many questions so far for like just the first like little practice run we had. There's so many questions that opened up, and it's like it's tough because like I was the oldest, 17. So when we start, I'm pretty much the same age as this session, where I think all of you are kind of jumping, and so I still have all these questions, like because yours will all be answered. Mine are like, what's going on with this guy? What are we still friends? Does the teacher remember I flirted with her? Oh, what did that -5 points actually matter? I don't know.
I think for me, like this session was good for me to sort of figure out these three characters. This is how I talk to them. Like the more so than like fun, quippy Roxy. I know how I talk to these people now, and I think that's going to remain pretty consistent throughout her life.